Welcome to another episode of Pursuit. Tonight, as always, I'm here. Ariel.
Christina.
Who are you?
Not Kevin.
All right.
All right.
Asha, what are we doing? Come on, Farah.
That's Farah in the background, if you haven't known. She has...
Attitude.
Yeah.
All right.
She just shrugged. She doesn't care.
She knows what it is. All right, Asha.
So we got a couple questions for our leaders today.
For leaders?
For the leaders of this episode. Okay, yeah. So people asked you guys questions to get to know you a little better.
You want to know me?
Wow. That'd be right.
Okay. Ready to kick it off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Who is the one person who knows you the best?
You mean in the group?
No, in general, in life.
General?
See, I have like a friends and then like family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
You can do both.
and then I have different friends in different categories. So can you
Pick
just-
one. Pick one.
Like on Faith Assembly?
Anyone.
Anyone.
Give them a shout out.
What'd you say?
Give them a shout out.
Shout out to one of my closest dear friends. You know who you are.
What if they don't?
It's so them. You know me. Out of everybody.
Yeah, but what if some people think they know you, but they don't? And they think you're shouting them out?
Take the win.
A win is a win.
Knows me the best. I would say Lex. Probably.
And
Her
who is
sister.
Lex and... Oh, thank you so much for that.
Because we're also very much the same person, but not. So
Okay. Second question. Are you better at talking or listening?
it depends on the context.
It depends on who I'm with.
Chrissy, please.
What'd you say?
Chrissy, please. She's better at talking.
Apparently I'm a talker.
Asha's a listener. I think I'm in the middle.
Yeah, you are.
I think I even it out.
Yeah, you can be a talker when you want to be, but then
Yeah.
you can also be a listener.
So what happens to me? I'm chopped liver over here?
You're the talker.
Well, I can't be the listener
She's
too.
the listener.
I want to be a listener.
Yeah, you want to be.
I feel like I listen.
Yeah, but you're not the listener. You telling me you want to listen more than Asha does?
Nah. Asha sent me and Ariel a meme.
No, I sent it.
Oh, it
First of all,
was
you
Ariel.
don't even look.
We're not talking about
I can
eyesight here.
listen.
We're not talking about eyesight right now. We're talking about what was the meme?
Let me pull it
It
up.
has to be perfect for
One of my friends put it in their story too today.
And like out of 3 friends, there's I don't even want to butcher the meme because it was that
Okay.
good.
It says, I love hanging out in groups of 3 because then I can go nonverbal and they entertain each other while I look at a tree or something.
So between Asha, Ariel, and I, Asha goes nonverbal many times. We entertain each other.
In turn, entertaining her.
I like to pop in and out
Yeah, she
to
does.
keep it
She
interesting.
has really good quips, you know?
Okay. What is your favorite season and why?
I like transitional seasons. So I'm going to say spring and fall.
Okay.
Because they're kind of the same, just like in reverse. And why? Because you get to layer and like get cute like comfy outfits, but you also have those days where you can like wear like cute like summer clothes still.
Yeah.
I like the summer.
And it's also not too hot. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. I like the summer and fall. Summer because I was born in the summer. I like the beach. I like hot weather. Fall for the outfits. It's just like cute like fall attire, you know?
Yeah.
The boots, the scarves, the light jean jackets.
Flannels.
Flannels.
How did you not say that?
Flannels with the leggings. Yeah.
The apple cider. The apple cider donuts.
Cider donuts.
We have this little tradition we do
Spooky
almost
season.
every year. Yeah, we go to a
Pumpkin
certain
spice,
place with our current friends of that season.
What? Okay.
This one's interesting. What breakfast cereal do you prefer?
I think I'm a Cinnamon Toast Crunch girly.
Mm.
But also, I love me some Honey Bunches of Oats.
Yeah, like cereal is so vast. How can you make me pick one?
If it's a cereal that I'm gonna eat as a snack, Cookie Crisp or Pops.
Pops has the frog on it, right? No, that's Honey Smackers. Never mind.
Is that the one shaped like a honeycomb?
I don't know.
Am I thinking of Pops? I'm not thinking of Pops. Pops are the little round one. Hold on.
Pop? You mean Kix?
Oh, so then I am thinking of Pops.
Pops is the yellow box, right?
Yeah.
Kix is
Yeah,
the round one.
Pops, top tier. You can't let them get soggy.
I think for me, I like Frosted Flakes, but I love Fruit Loops. But I also like Raisin Bran.
Oh my god.
Equally, like I love these cereals equally.
Why are you such an old person?
Raisin Bran and granola cereals are the win for me.
Granola's not for you.
Oh,
Do you guys eat with milk or just plain?
almond
If it's
milk.
breakfast, milk.
Yeah.
Without, I mean, if it's not breakfast, would you eat it with milk?
Yeah. But I also, like, I'm down to have cereal as a snack, like dry. That's what I'm saying. Like Cookie Crisp, I'll have that by itself. Sometimes.
Cool.
Do you know what I also eat by itself sometimes? Croutons.
Oh yeah, me too.
Quick little salty snack.
Okay. What was your first job ever?
Like getting paid for it?
Yeah.
Probably like babysitting.
My first official job was in high school. I worked at Burger King. Yeah.
That was your first?
Yeah. I feel like I was working way before then, but it wasn't
Yeah.
like official.
Oh.
Mm.
Okay. I feel like you.
Or was I like? No, I did retail after.
Oh.
Yeah, that was like my first like big girl job.
Did you get any free food at Burger King?
All the time. There was a point where I didn't even eat Burger King
Yeah.
because I worked there so much you didn't want to even eat it.
Okay. What was the best vacation you've ever had?
Best vacation I've ever had. I haven't been on vacation in a while.
We are going somewhere though. Stay tuned. We'll tell you when we come back that was the best.
Best vacation I've been on. I feel like they've all been pretty solid.
Yeah.
Like there are some that, I mean, some weren't as good as others. But I think the best trips are about the people that you go with.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of times you go on vacation with the same group of people because it works.
Correct.
Okay, this one kind of goes hand in hand. What is the next place you want to travel to?
Want to travel to Ireland. Oh, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was good.
We're going to Ireland.
I don't know. I wanna. Also, I was supposed to go to Costa Rica. We changed it, but I would still love to go to Costa Rica.
I want to go
I don't
to
know
Costa
where from Ireland we're going, but we're going
We're gonna
somewhere
stay
in
in the
Europe.
castle in Donegal.
Yeah. Oh, Iceland for me. Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh, that's a
I
good
really
one.
want
I
to
want
go
to go
there.
to Alaska.
Right? The views are amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Iceland this year, but I may go to Ireland before I go to Iceland, so that's okay. Eyes and eyes.
I would also do Hawaii over.
Never been to Hawaii. Trying to go there.
I would do that again. I would do it better.
I want to go to their 7-Eleven. On
Why? 'Cause
TikTok.
The Rock went?
No, not even that. Like the TikTok, like when they go to 7-Eleven and they show me what they eat, like it all looks
Oh.
great.
Yeah, they get like the spam.
Korea. Why
North
did I
Korea.
No. Why did I not say that? I want to go to Korea.
She wants to go to North Korea.
No. Chrissy, we can't say
Maria. I got it mixed up. Dyslexia.
Are you serious? Anyway, moving along.
Okay. What is your go-to coffee order or tea order?
Yeah, I don't coffee. If it's in the morning, I'll do my black tea. Generally, it's Lipton, but I also like a good Irish breakfast. I also like, what was the one I had the other day? I don't remember. With 1 sugar and a little milk.
For me, right now it's the summer, so I like iced coffee, even though this morning I had warm coffee, hot coffee. I do like hazelnut coffee with the almond milk or oat milk, no sugar. Lactose intolerance, you know, my people out there, you know. Yeah.
Okay. If you had to describe yourself as an animal, which animal would it be?
Land animal or
Animal.
Animal, yeah, just anyone.
What would I be?
can you answer for us while we think
A
about it?
meerkat.
She's
Yeah, that's pretty spot on for you.
Yeah. And she
Why do
sounds
you
like,
say
yeah.
that? Why do you say that?
Because
I just thought of when they popped their head out. I was like, yeah.
no, and then you ever saw that video? It's not funny, but it is. Like
What?
like you saw that video with the guy, he like went hiking and then a meerkat was following him behind.
No.
And it kept on like, and he was like, he kept on turning around. He's like, please, like, stop. Like, he was like genuinely scared. And it was like hissing at him. And I was like, I feel like you would do that just to troll people. just because you're in a silly,
That is
goofy
so
mood, right?
true. For me, I think I would be.
A seal.
But I would.
I do get a little bit sealish sometimes. Because I get a cold very often, I lose my voice, and I sound like a seal. I was going to say a big bear, but yeah.
No, bears hibernate.
So because I don't sleep? Because I'm like, they're big, but they're cuddly. Well, you want them to be cuddly, but they're mean. So, like, you know, spicy nice out here.
Alrighty.
I would be a sloth.
Last question. If you were the ruler of your own country, what would be the first law you would make?
We take naps. We siesta.
Unlimited 5G network at all times.
Love that.
Wow, you can tell we're very different people.
Siesta. Unlimited 5G network. Yeah. Those are our personalities, though. That's crazy.
Oh, that was the last question, right? What would you guys do?
I agree with Chrissy on the 5G network.
Look at her, now she in the tech field. She want to go agree with me.
She's controlling cameras now. Farrah, what would you do?
I agree with you. I think we should all sleep.
I thought one of you guys would have said something about food at this point.
Why? Yeah, but the first thing I would do is naps. After that, we can talk about food.
That's true. Also, we'll have to make like underground bunks.
Like tunnels from house to house?
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
That'd be cool. I could just walk into your house and you wouldn't know.
I
There's
could
a
see
movie
that
like
being a little
There's
bit
a movie
problematic.
Like that. I just watched it a few weeks ago.
I feel like in theory that would work, but then you, like she said, you could just show up at people's house.
Well, when I say bunks, I mean like for like
Oh,
it's
like
an
emergency.
island, right? So I'm
is it an
assuming.
island?
It said a country.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I thought island.
She's
like-
an island.
Cause I'm an island girl. Looking for my island.
No. Continue.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about doubt. So last episode we talked about sharing our faith, right? But we also touched about what happens when people ask you questions you don't know the answer to. So it's all going to come together today in this episode. what happens when, well, first of all, a lot of times when we have doubts about our religion or our beliefs, right, it tends to be like a shameful feeling that we put on, right? Why is it that we feel shame to have these questions? Open to the floor. Why do we feel shameful because we have questions or we might have doubts?
I think sometimes people feel shameful when you have to ask a question because I feel like you think the other person feels like you should already know it. And I think when it comes to, you asked about like our faith.
Yeah.
That was in the question. Because we were grown and born into this church and grew up, I think sometimes that notion alone is like, well, why are you asking about something in the New Testament? You should know that. And it's like, just because we were born and raised in Christianity doesn't mean that we know those things. We still have questions and we still need to learn. So I guess that for me, it would be like, I just feel like people judge you. So that's why I doubt myself to ask a question, or it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Why do we doubt? Okay. So, yeah, like you said, a lot of times, given the circumstances or the situation that you grew up with, it's kind of, we feel like we shouldn't be doubting because we should have this foundation built up. But when you're in school, right? Taking religion out of it, when you're in school, you're learning things, you don't know everything, and you ask questions. Do you feel shame?
Me personally, no.
Why? Yes. I do be shy to ask questions. But I think I'm more so, I don't think I feel shameful in that. It's, I don't want, it's kind of like what you were saying about religion. I don't want people to know what I don't know. Right? Because it's
they
like
could
a
use
little
that
twisted,
against
but
you,
exactly.
right? So that's like a weakness that they could use, like, oh, Arrow, she doesn't even know that.
Yeah.
Or Christina. So I get what you're
it's
saying.
more accepted in that situation to ask questions because you're all learning.
Correct.
So why is it that in school it's accepted to ask questions? We feel shameful to do it in church, where like we're in Sunday school.
You know, I don't know, because growing up in Sunday school, I don't feel like me per se, I don't think I was ashamed to ask a question like, who is God? Well, they told me, but, or like, why did he die for our sins?
Yeah.
I think the inquisitiveness in me wanted to know. So I didn't really feel shame, but I think that comes with my personality. I think personality plays a big role in these things.
But you said before that like in certain situations you feel like you should know certain things.
As
right?
I'm older.
Yeah.
As I'm older. I'm talking about as a child, like in school, like when we were younger, I think I would ask more questions now that I'm older, and I feel like we give ourselves that little like, well, you should know this, or they think you should know it.
Yeah. So a lot of times we ask ourselves these questions where it's like, and then when we have these thoughts, it's like, well, am I not as Christian as I thought I was, right? Like, do I not have the foundation that I thought I built? And it is okay to feel those things, but what's not okay is to let them drown us out, right? Those things shouldn't be putting out your fire and your curiosity or dampening your relationship with God. Because you should use them as more so of a driving force to build that relationship, to build it up. So we should, So we should use that feeling to allow us to ask questions, right? Obviously to the right people.
Right.
I'm not going to go up to someone that has less knowledge than me to ask them a question that I don't know. But we should use that feeling to remind us that we should look into the Word, right? We should talk to God about these questions, or seek the people that would have the answer, like the elders,
right?
The people that are studied in the Word. So those feelings of uncertainty should fuel us to build that relationship. And a lot of times we happen to fall upon doubt when we get comfortable in our situation.
Right.
Right? So I could have had great momentum, right? Building this great relationship with God, praying, worshiping, reading my Bible, doing all of the things. And then I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm okay here. And then I start to drift. Right? Maybe not so drifting in terms of like sinning, but I'm not doing as much as I was before.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, I have a good foundation, and that's it. So then, when you come across a trial, or you come across like a problem or situation in your life, and it does maybe knock you off a little bit, you can start to doubt that foundation. That doesn't mean you don't have a foundation. It just means you need to build on it, right? What good is it to have a foundation if your building is like
you need
2 inches tall?
a firm foundation.
Yeah. But like, if you have a foundation and you're not building upon it, what good is it? Right? Does that make sense? Is that a good analogy? If I'm building a building and I put all this work, all this money into framing out the foundation in the ground, whatever, but it's just like it goes down so deep and
And you just leave it right there,
it's
and
just
you
a platform.
don't build
Yeah.
the rest of the building, then all that time and energy
It just goes to waste.
and no
basically.
one benefits off of that,
Yeah.
including yourself.
So when we get to that, it's easy to fall into that doubt. But question, what do you think God thinks of our doubts?
See, he knows our doubts. He knew our doubt before we even knew it. And I think, and this is just opinion based, right? I think God is okay with our doubts in a sense, because we shouldn't doubt God, right? At all. That's not what I'm saying. But we're also human. So because we're human and because we make mistakes, we are gonna doubt. And I feel like he grants us grace for that. So he'll probably provide a situation if we allow ourselves to go through with it or something to show that you shouldn't doubt me, if that makes sense.
So yes, so he kind of, I'm not gonna say he welcomes doubt, but he welcomes our question.
Right.
Right? It's normal to have certain questions, especially as you're growing. And he wants us to find those correct answers, right? So he welcomes your questions. He's like, ask me them, seek and you will find, right? Like, ask your questions and I will give you the answers. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to answer it in a big booming voice right then and there. Not to say that won't happen, but that's not going to happen every time.
Right.
But you'll start to notice as you're asking these questions and as you're looking for answers, they're going to come up. Be it in a conversation that someone just randomly has with you one day, or like if you just go up to someone and the conversation will come up and then you'll feel comfortable asking your question.
Right. And you'll get confirmation.
Exactly. So there are little things that come up in your life that when you start to share your doubts with God, right? Share your questions and your curiosities with him, that you'll notice that he's going to answer them.
Right.
And that will not only like erase that doubt, but it'll also help you to build on your foundation, build on what you know and what God wants you to know and wants for your life. So, do we know where to look? Do you know where you would look if you had questions?
What kind of questions, Ariel?
Like doubts about God, like, or
I
religion.
would look in the Bible. Well, ultimately, I would like start off in the Bible somewhere, trying to like look for an answer. What does the Bible say? And then,
But
if I got lazy, or I just didn't find it, then I would go to someone who I think would be able to answer that question for me. So I wouldn't sit on it, because if I have a doubt and I don't ask or I don't do something to help me get an answer, then I'm just going to keep on doubting. I'm not going to go anywhere with that.
So what if I don't know where in the Bible to look? Like, is it one of those things where you like open flip to a random page and then God tells you what it is?
No. There's the gospel in the Bibles. There's the law, their history. There's different books of the Bible basically have different things in it, purposes. So depending on my question, I personally, because we have a background of being a Christian, we know how to do that. But sometimes Google is your friend and it can get you where you need to go. But also, once you find the answer now, try to interpret it and then also ask someone that you know has that knowledge or background in that area of a question.
So, moral of the story, look for your answers in many different ways, right? You can talk to people that are more qualified than you. You can look in your Bible. You can talk to God about it. I think a lot of times we feel shameful about the fact that we're talking to God about doubting him, because it's like, what if I came up to you and you're like, I don't think you're a good friend?
If she said that before.
And
you'd
it's
be like, yeah.
Like, I don't think you're a real friend, right? If I were to come up to you and say that, that would be a tough conversation to have.
Have those conversations.
You still should, absolutely. But but I think that's because we forget that God is who he is, right? He's not a regular person that you can literally just come up to and be like, you're not doing these things, like, you're not being a good friend to me. And like, it blows up into a fight.
Right.
He's the kind of God that's gonna accept your questions, right? Understand that you have these questions because you were given a brain to think, right? You were allowed to freely think, and then he will direct you. If you ask for directions, he will direct.
He will direct your path.
And so, question: what are some doubts that people commonly have
About the Bible?
about, like, religion, God in general?
That good. People doubt that God really, that Jesus came and really died on the cross for our sins. They doubt that he resurrected. But we know he did because it literally has all the evidence there.
In the Bible?
Yeah,
What if they doubt the Bible?
people do doubt the Bible. But a lot of things that are in the Bible, like prophecies, has happened in the past 2,000 years. So that's where I personally now would be like, oh, well, I mean, some of the things that, not some, like literally, well, some of them haven't come to pass yet. So some of the things that have been said, for me, that's like that, I would use that as like my tool. Like, hey, but it's hard to doubt that when the facts are there on the table.
When there's physical evidence.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like there has been evidence of the crucifixion. There has
Right.
been evidence of a lot of the things that have happened in the Bible.
and so you use that. And it kind of goes like with the episode before this one, when you're sharing your faith or you're having a conversation about Jesus, you never do it to argue or for it to become a fight.
Mhm.
So even if there's gonna be people, what's wrong with me today? There's gonna be people who will want to argue about Bible and about Jesus, but you're not here to do that. You're not here to argue about politics or religion or anything of that. You're just here to give hope in Jesus and, try to help them with their doubts.
So how do we combat those questions? Well, I guess you kind of already touched on it. Have that conversation, right? And like we talked about in the last episode too, where I was like, it's scary,
Yeah,
right? When they ask me a question that I don't know the answer to.
I got a
But
line
you have
for
to
them.
be, forever?
I have a line for them for that.
You have to be mature enough in who you are and who God is to be like, hey, you know what? Let me look into that for you.
Yeah,
Because I've personally never questioned that. But you're also valid for like
Having that
having a
question.
question.
yeah,
So it's in those times where you need to not feel ashamed of the fact that you don't know everything, because you don't know everything about anything.
no one does.
Right? And so I think because religion is such a close, like, it's very touchy topic when it comes to like people's lifestyles and like things like that.
hmm
So it does feel worse when it's like, I don't know the answer to that when I've been living this my whole life. Like, is my life a lie now that I don't know the answer to this question?
Those are valid questions. They're also wrong, but
Like, I've had conversations with people where they were like, hey, you're a Christian, you go to church all the time, what do you think about these things? And some of the times I'll have answers to it. Not every time, but that doesn't mean the conversation ends there, full stop. You
right.
pick it up another time. You're like, hey, do you remember when you asked me about this? I actually looked into it, and this is what it says.
Right.
And then not only will you have multiple conversations on religion and God and who he is, but you're also exposing them to different things. So you're not really deflecting the question, but you're not providing possibly false information that's just like, oh, I think it's probably this, right? Because remember, this could be someone's either only or first experience with a Christian or with someone that's talking about God and religion and who it is and what that means to them.
And you don't want to give them the wrong answer because you don't want to seem like you didn't know what to say. I mean, that's wrong. I'd rather you be upfront and be like, hey, I don't know, but I can get you an answer in a few days, than you to give someone false information about any topic.
I think there is strength in asking for time, right? I think it is important to do that in any situation, because the moment you're just rambling on, just talking about something you don't know, there's no basis behind it, you're wasting time, first of all.
You're wasting
time
time.
in there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you're just saying things that aren't true. You're spreading falsities. And
Hot breath.
Yeah. But remember,
be bold in the face of fear. And be faithful in the face of rejection.
yeah. That's not what I was gonna say.
Oh,
Yeah.
you gave me the look, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready to say this.
I was going to say there are no questions too big for God.
That is true.
So if you don't know who to ask or where to look, first step will always be to talk to God about it, right? You don't never have to be ashamed about asking questions because that's what he's there for, right? To
Yeah.
answer those questions, to give you clarity, to give you comfort, right? Wisdom, all of the things. If you can't find it within yourself. So you have to turn to God about it. And then he will open these doors and walk you down these pathways that you need. Talk to God, read his word, and he will direct you. I think a lot of times, even having a conversation with your faith-based friends about it will help, because a lot of times you have the same doubts, right? You have a lot of similar questions. And if you're the first one to ask it, or the first one to have this question, then that's a learning experience for all of you. If someone else has had it before you, then they can walk you down the path that they did, right? They can help you. They can help to answer your question. Have you ever had instances where you've had questions and you talk to your? Oh.
My hands are sweaty, so the paper moved with it.
Have you had instances where you had questions and you talked to someone like within your groups about it? How did that go?
Yes, I did. It went both ways, right? So depending on the group, my faith-based groups, because we're talking about faith-based or just
Yeah.
right? They either had the same question and they're like, hey, yeah, I was thinking about that actually recently. And then we're on the pursuit of finding the answer together. Or they knew the answer and they were just able to relay that information to me. And it didn't have to be this big thing where it's like going down rabbit holes trying to find an answer. It could literally just be like, hey, I have a question about this and a doubt. And they're like, well, the Bible says this, and this, and this, and this, and this is what I summed it up to be, and like it makes sense. So I'm all for asking questions, and sometimes you have to be the one to ask first because everyone is feeling ashamed to ask the question. They're scared, they're fearful.
Because you never
So
want to look like
you
are
don't
less-
know.
Yeah.
Right? And it's okay to not know things. I mean, that's how you learn, that's how you grow.
You never know what you don't know.
Exactly. Asha?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, to the earlier question when you said, like, why is it easier for you to ask a question in class?
Oh yeah.
I think that many people find it easier because, like, you're kind of assuming that, like, when you go to a class, you both are learning this new material together. Whereas, like, in a religion, like with Christianity, like, everybody kind of, like, has different levels to their relationship as to where they might be at, and like you're kind of, it could be intimidating because like someone might be way above, you know, their faith than you
there's
are.
No way to measure.
Right. But then like if you look at it, like if you were in the same like school scenario, like by not asking that one question, that could be, you could be tested on that, and you know, you could lose out on that valuable information, you know.
Right.
So like it's better to like ask people and have that knowledge, and like, you know, like maybe like help someone else, you know, pass that information on, and like bless someone else that, you know, needs that knowledge.
Right. I agree.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that has helped me get more comfortable with asking questions is that when I would have questions, I'd write them down, right? Because sometimes it's like literally the most random question at the most random time of the day. But also we had a group chat, like a youth group chat, like a while ago. I think it was like the beginning of COVID times. And someone would just ask like random questions. Like, do you think Adam and Eve had belly buttons?
Was I? I wasn't in that chat.
I wasn't in it because I have an Android, but everyone else I knew was. So.
And I still wasn't in it. Wow.
But yeah, it was like those random questions, but it got conversation
No,
started.
they didn't. Did they?
Yeah, they did.
I just
Wait, no,
doubted
they
that.
didn't what?
Did they have belly buttons?
Oh, I thought you meant like. I thought you were saying that didn't get conversation started.
Oh no!
No, it was like those little dumb questions that just gets conversation started, right? Because first of all, what are you thinking about where you're considering whether Adam and Eve had belly buttons?
Well, during COVID was a very scary time for all of us. So we had the time to think about belly buttons of Adam and Eve. But like also, I think if in a church setting, no one would have ever asked that question.
No.
So That worked out.
And then it starts the conversation, and then other people are like, okay, they asked this dumb question. Let me ask a different question.
That was
And
your
then-
question. It wasn't dumb. Or maybe it was.
Well, it was,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
but like it's like not like a dumb like, oh, you're dumb, but like
yeah, it's
dumb,
just like
funny
a,
dumb.
Yeah, funny dumb.
Like the most random, like catches you off guard, because like, where did you even come from with this? But that's how you open the door for a lot of
And it
people.
started a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
Which is helpful. I mean, it's kind of like our podcast chat too. We'll have some questions in there
Yeah.
during the week.
Excuse me. I think also at the beginning of, like, when that group chat was made, we had a lot of newer people.
Mm.
So one, it gets everyone comfortable in like having a conversation and just like, you know, bantering back and forth. But also, like, it lets you know what everyone's personalities are like. But also it makes you comfortable contributing to the conversation. So when you're new, you don't really know what other people know. You don't know, like, in comparison to yourself, where I stand.
Right.
So when you have conversations like that, you can bring up like deep theological things, but you can make it light,
Right.
right? And so when you're able to do that, you see a lot of people are growing together. So people that could have been in the church forever are on the same level as people that might have just joined. And that's okay as long as you know where you stand.
I agree. And because I feel like I've just been doing this all night, I also want to shine a light that, this is not what you said, but I'm going to say it. This is not what you meant. Just because you're new in the faith doesn't mean that you'll ultimately know less than someone who's been in the faith for a very long time.
Yep.
So baby Christians, as what we call them, someone could be in the church for 20 years and still be a baby Christian. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important to say when we're talking about something like this, where it's like, when we say ask someone who will know, it's someone that you know is reading the word and studying that, not someone that's been in the church for a long time, because
not necessarily someone
right,
who's been in the church
right,
for a while.
because you could be in the church for 40 years and still be on the same level as someone who just gave their life to Christ and know nothing more than that. So I think I wanted to just shine the light on that, where sometimes it's okay to ask someone new too.
I think
Questions.
when you ask new people, like people that are new to the faith, you also get an understanding of where their mind's at.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have more like conversations tailored to that.
Yeah. I've met someone new to the faith before, and I kind of like
it's so rare. It never happens.
No, like I kind of was like, yeah, they're probably just not gonna know like what I was about to talk about. And as I started the conversation, they were kind of on my level of knowing this vast knowledge about this topic I was talking about, and I was just like, it was a learning moment for me.
Yeah.
Where it's like I kind of judged them. I'm like, oh, they just gave their life to Christ. Yeah, they just gave their life to Christ, but they knew the Bible. They knew who God was.
I think a lot of times people know the word because a lot of times people talk about it.
Right.
Right? And also a lot of principles that are in the word are very like common sense things, right?
Right.
Like show love, be respectful. All of these little things that are also taught to people as like manners and being polite and how to be a good person.
Honor your mother and father.
Mm-hmm. And that's why like it's easy to think that a baby Christian or like someone that's new to the religion doesn't know things.
Yeah.
But when you have these conversations, you not only do you learn things, but they're also getting a new perspective.
Right. Share your faith. Don't be doubtful.
Yeah. And I think as Christians, we should also prepare ourselves to answer those more commonly asked questions, right? So, like Farah said in the last episode, it can be scary when you're sharing your faith with someone new or someone that doesn't know.
Yeah.
But I think if we are going out and intending to share our faith, we should be looking for those answers ahead of time, right? I'm not going to wait until someone asks me a question to look for an answer for it.
Agreed.
Right? It's important to take that initiative and to study the word and to study God and what he says before we go out and do things like that.
Yeah, it's like taking a test. You know a test is coming up, or you know you'll be quizzed at some point in time and you don't study for it. Mm-hmm. How do you expect to pass it?
Yep.
You can't. You have to put in the work behind the scenes to be fruitful on the scene. That's nice.
Farah snapping for her. Excuse me. But yeah, I think what it all comes down to is building that foundation in God and who He is and His Word. Because without that, you might have a lot of questions, but you're just gonna sit there with them. It's not gonna be fruitful to anything. You're not gonna learn anything. You won't grow. You'll just be there. And who wants to be stagnant? Have you ever seen a stagnant pool of water? Do you know what it attracts? Mosquitoes.
Have you ever smelled a stagnant pool of water?
Disgusting.
Do it again.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
Sitting water?
it's gross.
Grody.
Grody. Yeah, like it's a plant. Think of yourself as a plant. If you get no sun, you get no water, what eventually will happen? You're gonna wither, and then you're gonna die. So, with that being said, water. Get your sunlight, meaning read the word,
Talk to God.
talk to God.
Build those relationships with the people.
Those
in your
essential
church
things for
as
you to
well.
live,
Mhm.
for you to grow, because a plant can't grow without those two things. We can't grow in our faith or in just of who we are in Christ. You can't without knowing who God is, knowing what He says, building those relationships with people.
And knowing who He is and what He does in relation to you.
Right. Grow big or go
Or go
home.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Why did you just cheers the camera? Yes.
Oh, wait. What's our takeaway besides that?
What's our takeaway? Grow big or go home.
Okay. Yeah, that was good. That was really good.